This is Kiara, and you are checking out the 3 Count podcast.
Welcome everybody to another great edition of the 3 Count podcast presents Now Entering the Ring. I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller. You know, the man that leads you up this mountain called wrestling. That's right. You could call me your Sherpa, but like every good Sherpa, you got to have someone who's been there, done that, and can do it more efficiently than you can. But today's kind of a unique situation because you see this man right next to me. He comes to us from Outbreak. He comes to us from 1CW. He comes to us from Outbreak Wrestling. He is the shooter himself, Noah Idol.
Thank you for having me. That was an illustrious entrance. Like, thank you so much. That was amazing. But yeah, thank you so much for having me.
So it's funny because like our viewers who have been with us for a long time will remember Noah was actually with us on the very first episode of the debate show.
That is factual. I was.
Like,
come a long way.
Yeah, that's all I was thinking. I was like, it's been almost 2 years now that
crazy enough.
It's been a while, man. And then to think, like this show alone, right? So I think you are episode 190. I think
190. I like that number. That's a solid number. 190.
But it's been a trip, man. So you really started breaking back through into the pro scene. And one thing about you is that you are the third member currently of Pure Ignorance.
Yes, yes, I am.
Jazz the Dawn, Prince Machiavelli, the shooter Noah Idol himself. So I'm just curious, who is Noah Idol?
Alrighty. Very good question. Again. Noah Idol, the shooter of Pure Ignorance, he's the youngster. You know what I mean? He's the youngest of Pure Ignorance, but at the same time, he knows the streets. He knows where he's from, which is Baltimore, Maryland. Growing up in Baltimore is very tough. That alone has its I guess pros and cons, but it grows you. It grows you as a person. So again, Noah Idol knows the streets. He knows where he's from, and he's just out to represent. And he feels as though riding with the Don, Chaz Evans and Prince Machiavelli, his boys who are also from the same region, he feels as though we got something. We're working with something. All three of us, we can definitely make some magic. So definitely learning through them as well as my journey has been such like a big blessing. Learning so much, taking in so much, and just trying to use it and roll with it. But definitely a journey. Grateful for it.
Yeah, it's funny because like it's not very often that I know someone's journey from the start.
Right.
And you in particular, I happen to know because we've worked at Forbidden Lands and we've actually worked each other in the Forbidden Lands. And then from there, like I remember like going pro, and I remember like talking about you the whole time. I was like, dude, yeah, there's this kid, don't worry, he's gonna be coming up. And we actually went to the ACW show in February, where fun fact, we actually met Will All Day, who's been on the show.
Wow. Okay.
And well, actually you remember Will. Will was the one that was you had to do a backflip off the top rope. So anyway, so we had him there, right? We met there, and we had you there, and then like you were gone for a while. We're not gonna talk about that side of things, what happened, but we found out you were training in Orlando, and then like you got trained, and then you popped back up into Maryland. and I was like, I'm so hyped that this man is finally in this world.
Finally entering. Definitely, finally entering.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking, man. I was like, I could ask, man, but I'm just curious, like, how did you get into wrestling, period, though?
Another great question. When I was little, wrestling was always like a huge thing for me because I guess in growing up, you're still trying to like find yourself, like find who you are. And I didn't really have anything like super like I wasn't, I just I was just finding myself, and I just realized like I tried certain things, they wouldn't work, and I just be like, okay. But one thing that always stuck was wrestling, and with wrestling, it definitely became like an outlet and it became therapeutic to me because I would use wrestling, you know, when I'm like angry or when I'm sad or when I'm in my head. And with wrestling, it kind of just, it took me away from like that and brung me straight to like, okay, wrestling world and shaping Noah Idol. So I guess I was kind of like finding myself and then finding Noah at the same time. So it was a nice little journey.
That's awesome though, man. And it's funny like how like different paths always bring you somewhere. And
Yeah,
for like me
definitely.
especially, right? Like my whole life, like wrestling has been around, right? Since like 91. And
Mhm.
to see like in every aspect of like my life, like wrestling has been somewhere, right? Whether I was in amateur wrestling, or I was in college, or in the military, or even, you know, getting out and just finding my way around. And then like this, the journey inside of wrestling is even crazier too, because you'll find yourself like, you're like, well, I'm trying to work on this character, but it's not really connecting with me. So I know it's not connecting with anybody out there. So I was
Mhm.
like, I got to change things up. And you're like always trying to evolve that thing to make yourself better.
Right. Completely.
It's tough though, man. Like this.
Very tough. Very, very tough. I feel as though uh ju- just just getting in like connection or getting in sync with that character alone takes time.
Yeah.
Like analyzing, knowing what the character is, who they are, what are their motives. That it takes time. It's definitely a process, but you'll appreciate the process once you get it down pat. And once your character is like solid, then after that you just work. You just work, man. Like definitely.
Yep. And you're right. Like it's something like I'm still like on that journey of like trying to figure out like who the Red Dog is and like what
Definitely.
makes him so unique versus like other people who are like, well, I like to talk shit. I'm like, well, I like to talk shit too. Right.
Exactly. Right. So I guess it's like a never-ending journey, kind of always evolving your character because you always want to be like that best. So I get it.
So I'm curious, man, and you've been in like, you know, 3 different promotions now. Just like what's been the worst bump you've taken so far?
Whew. Okay. Hmm. I believe the worst bump I've taken so far would have to come from fight. Um, I was in a match with Grim, and first off, amazing worker, super super cool, very very informative, and definitely like a leader. But he had me up on his shoulders in a fireman's carry, and he just yeah before he even brung me down, he just tells me, tuck your chin. And I immediately just put my chin down. I didn't ask no questions. I did exactly what he said. And I took my chin down, and all I know is I felt my entire body go up. And then as soon as like 3 seconds passed, my body came down. I took the bump, and my whole body kind of just like rattled. Like I kind of felt like, okay, it's over. Breathe. Like it was definitely like okay, we're good. But still, very fun match. Very, very like definitely a learning experience coming from somebody like Grim as well. So grateful for it.
Yeah, he's actually, so we've actually had him on the show too, and he's been like one of those dudes that just like drops like a ton of knowledge on you, and then like you have to go back and listen to it like 2 or 3 times to really like understand like, hey man, like here's like you're not just getting like a nugget of truth, you're getting like the whole block.
Yeah,
You're trying to
110,
dissect,
110, 110.
and you're trying
Nothing
to
less.
dissect everything because it's like, man, like there's just so much that you're trying to unpack, and like, you know, simple things that he's like talking about, because like there's meaning in everything. And then like he was telling, like we sit on the side and we'll talk about my matches and stuff like that, and we'll watch him back, and he's just so like on point with like everything, because he's like, hey man, like at this moment you should have done this and this and this instead of
Mhm.
doing it this and that,
And
and
see,
then
that's the thing, like that feedback, I feel as though that feedback and that knowledge, I feel as though some people, I don't know, I feel like some people kind of like take it and kind of be like, whatever. But coming from somebody like him, like you take it, run with it.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to steer you wrong. He's never going to tell you anything like he wouldn't do, or, you know, something safe, like he completely. So like information like that, I always try to like just take it, run with it, and just keep it just from like anybody, since I'm like so still fairly new within the industry, like just keeping that information from anybody and just run with it. Like,
yeah, there's no doubt about it, man, that like everything like that you learn like in this industry, like you get to pick and choose like who you want to talk to, because some people like may tell you some stuff and then you don't really vibe with like what they're trying to tell you. They might tell you like in the wrong direction. But then like there's other guys too that you'll get something and it's just like you just cling on to it so tight. Like I have a notebook, like I'm legit writing in my notebook like all the time, like of people who have something to talk about or something to add or something to say about something. And then even people that I usually like I'm not vibing with, but they might say something that I may want to think about later. Like I write it down and then I sit back and I'll be like, is that something I can utilize? And sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But regardless, man, like I'm always trying to listen to people like all the time, because like everybody wants to be an expert, but not everybody is an expert. You feel me?
Right. No, I get you completely.
So I'm curious, man, because like you've been working for a short while. Would you say Grim is probably the person who hit you the hardest?
Yes. But I took it out of love. Like definitely. He's definitely the person that okay, so I feel as though whenever you're in a match with somebody who's like, you know, has a little bit more experience from you, while in the ring with that person, it's not just a match, but you're learning. Like you're picking up and you're listening to them and you're seeing why they're doing certain things the way they do it, and it makes sense. And it's like it's definitely just like a learning experience. So when I was in the ring with Grim, definitely a learning experience, like just the way he worked and the way he like talked to me. It was all love. So when he hit me like that, I understood it and it made sense, and he talked to me about it, and that information it's still clinging to me now, because I just can't forget about information like that. So especially like, you know, the information he gave me after like my first real like pro match. So yeah, like that was the one. That was the first one. So
it's funny too, because like you'll see the guys who like work snug and then you'll see the guys who like work stiff. And then you remember those guys who work stiff and you're just like, I can't wait to get another crack at you.
Right. Like, okay, I know what's going on this time. So we got it. Like, oh yeah.
I remember last time, like
exactly.
you hit me once, I was seeing white. Now I'm gonna hit you back, and I promise you, your eyes are gonna go close.
And we're gonna work.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, man. So, you know, we've been traveling around and stuff like that. So I'm curious, man, like what's been your post-match snack?
Post-match snack. That's a really good one. Okay. So my post-match snack, everybody's probably gonna laugh at me, but usually what I'll get, it's either a like Arizona tea or like either Arizona tea or water. If I already have water, then I'll just stick with the water. But sweet tarts, they're like it's these little like they're like little hockey pucks, and they're huge giant sweet tarts, and they taste so good. Like I'm just such a fanatic for sweet tarts, and I just love them. So every time after a match, I'll get one of them and I'm good to go, man. Like after that, I'm just like relaxing my body, like just kicking it.
Hey, there's no judgment here. Okay. I run around with a bag of gummy bears, like
I hear you. Man. I don't know. It's just that like jolt of sugar. It does something. Like it definitely does. Like, it definitely got me too. Because yeah, bro, I can't do it. Like
I was like, I remember like, well, we were at like 1CW and we were getting ready for the Rumble, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna grab a couple of these really quick. I promise I'm gonna feel good. And like as I'm chewing them, I'm like, yep, it's already working. I was like,
I'm getting in the zone.
Yeah,
exactly. Like... it's the jolt of sugar. Like it's just, I don't know, especially like even before a match. If I have something before a match, I'll like take one or two, get myself together, and it gets me ready. Like It gets me hyped, and I need that energy going inside the match. So it works out. It works out, man.
It really does. I'm always like excited whenever like I get to like pop a couple, because like whenever like we were at SCWA and it was like Chaz, Prince, and myself, like I was like, I remember just like throwing back like 6 gummy bears before my match.
Oh,
and I was
man.
waiting, and I was just like, I was so nervous, and I kept chewing, and everybody was just like, relax, dude, it's gonna be fine. I'm like, no, just taking that out of the gummy bears.
Right. Okay. It's just like, yeah, I'm good, guys. I'm good. Hey, man, whatever works. You got through it, though. You definitely got through it, and I'm pretty sure you did your thing. Like,
Yeah, and actually, that's a lot of things were born from my match at SCWA with that. All right, man. So far, man, I'm very curious to know, because like we said, you know, you're still relatively young in this. What's been like one of the hardest lessons you've had to learn so far?
the hardest lesson I've had to learn. Okay, well, speaking from Jace, Jace tries to be a really good person, and he's you know, I try to be a good person, a decent person, but within the ring, I'm Noah. You got to flip the switch, and with me, I feel as though the biggest lesson I need to like learn or like instill into myself is that this is wrestling. You're gonna take some hits. You're gonna take some bumps. You're gonna give some hits. You're gonna give some bumps. It's a match, but at the end of the day, it's all love. Like, if you can't really hit your best friend and you guys be okay at the end of the day, is that really your best friend? If that makes sense. So that's something that I'm still working on, because when I hit, I need to, you know, knock their jaw loose. We're in a wrestling match. We are in a wrestling match. So I feel as though that's definitely something I need to push up a little. And, you know, I'm a little guy. I'm a smaller guy. So I got to give it to him, you know, like.
Oh, it's something Chaz and I talk about all the time. Whenever, if you ever see us like in working, right, and you see Chaz just slap me, like that's usually because he's trying to tell me like it's time to turn the intensity up. And like, and then at that point, like I get smacked in the face. I'm just like, all right, this is going down. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's exactly. And it's funny because I know that he used to do that to Chris all the time, right? And then like then Chris told me that while we were at a grocery store one day, and we were talking, and he told me that. He's like, yeah, that's how Chaz does that. So the first time I'm in a ring, I get smashed in the face. I'm like, oh, no, you're not getting away with it.
Yeah, like, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. And then I remember like he smacked me one time, and I just threw him in a buckle, and I didn't even hesitate. I didn't even say nothing. Just came down. Spatow, good brother, right across the chest.
With a big chop. Okay.
And all you hear was, asshole. It was like, no. You wanted this. I'm just here to deliver, man.
Yeah, bro. You asked for this. At this point, you asked for this, and it's all love.
We always, it does not go without having at least one match where we're both working each other. Like, he'll either stiff me one or I will. And like, it happens all the time. Every single time that we're in a match, like one of us gets cocked, and we just like, what the hell, man? But you're right.
Just like, what's up? Like, it's just, it happens.
Yeah, you're right. If you can't punch your friends hard, who can you hit?
Exactly. Just got to take it and keep moving.
Exactly. You can talk about it afterwards. Like during the match, don't apologize. Talk about it afterwards.
Keep
I got
moving.
punched. We were doing a 360 drill one time, right? And it was with another person. And no, I'm sorry. We were working a practice match for another person. And I'll talk about that after.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so we're working this practice match, and you know, these are the instructions that are given to me. Okay, hey man, so what's gonna happen is I'm gonna pop you one, and I'm gonna hit you, right? You're gonna go back, come back, I hit you with a forearm, you're gonna fall back to ropes, you come back, and then we'll go from there, right? I was like, all right, bet. So we're in the match, we're working, right, and we're working the heat, and spots coming up, right, and like I like lean on the ropes. I start to pull myself off, right, to like take a step. boom, get blasted right in the jaw.
Oh,
And all of a sudden it was just like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? I was like, I'm fine. Just hit me. And then the forearm comes in, right? And then I move to the next buckle. And the first thing I say is, I see dots. And the person goes, do you really? I was like, no, shut up and hit me.
right, exactly. Oh man, that's how you know the work. Literally, man.
But I was like, it's fine, just keep going. He's like, okay, we'll keep going. I'm just like, yeah,
Exactly. Like at that point, that's definitely something I had to learn too, because at that time you can't apologize mid-match. You're in a match, so you just have to do it, keep moving, see him in the back. Hey man, I'm sorry about that, and then that's when you talk about it.
Yeah,
like definitely.
And then just look for the receipt. Like it'll come later on in the match, or
Definitely.
if it doesn't, it will be in the next match.
Definitely. Oh yeah.
Chaz waited. Yeah. Chaz one time waited 2 months to deliver a receipt to me. Like it came, but he did. He waited a long time, and he popped me. I remember he popped me, and he was just like, "There's your receipt." I was like, "Fair point."
Respect. Yeah. It's all out of love, though. That's respect. That's respect.
It is. So I'm curious, man. What kind of advice would you want to give to people who want to get into the sport?
Oh man. If I could give anybody some advice that wants to get into wrestling, the best advice I could probably give is, number one, don't kill yourself. It takes time. It definitely takes time. Learn the fundamentals. The fundamentals are your ground base. Learn the fundamentals, memorize the fundamentals, make them your bread and butter, and then begin to build that foundation. As far as character and learning what you want to be, how you want to sound, things like that, I feel as though, again, that comes with time and really digging deep into that character and researching and finding things and what relates to the character. But yeah, man, definitely best advice, fundamentals. Stick to the fundamentals, learn the fundamentals, and you'll grow from there. You can only go up from there. So definitely.
There you go. And so our next question for you, man, is going to be one that I've been asking a lot and just want to see where you're going to come in.
All right, let's go.
One do and one don't of the locker room.
One do and one don't of the locker room. One do of the locker room. Whenever you enter the locker room, whenever the first time you enter the locker room, whoever you see inside the locker room, make sure you shake their hand and you say, hello, my name is such and such. It's nice to meet you. And you make yourself known. And just, it allows everybody to know who you are, and it allows them to kind of, address the elephant in the room. Like, okay, I'm not sure who this is. And it allows you to network.
Right.
So go inside the locker room, shake everybody's hand, introduce yourself, always be respectful, and network, learn people, have conversations. One big don't of the locker room. I haven't had any don'ts of the locker room, but one don't I'm gonna say of the locker room is if you let somebody borrow your wrist tape, make sure you get it back.
So that's not happening. No, it's never happening. You know what you should? You know what's a don't? Don't ask for it back. Just get more.
Oh man. Well, a don't keep your wrist tape. There you go. Boom. Don't give out your wrist tape. Be selfish.
You know what's so funny, man, is I don't use wrist tape, right? Mm-hmm. Do you know how many rolls of wrist tape I have in my bag? Not because I've borrowed it from everybody else, because I just know someone around is gonna be like, "Hey, man, you got wrist tape?" I'm like, "Yeah, here."
Oh yeah, always. There's always that person. I'm not gonna lie, I was definitely that person at a time. I was definitely that person that was just like, "Hey, do you have some wrist tape?" And it was always that dope somebody in the locker room, just like, "Here you go." But I was a gentleman and I returned the wrist tape. I definitely made sure I returned the wrist tape. So there's pros and cons.
Bet. All right, man. Well, those are all the heavy hitting questions I have, but we do have to get into the second best segment of the 3 Count podcast. And people ask me, what's the first? I tell them all the time, it's the Red Dogs Power Rankings that you can find every Sunday on our debate show. So this is the 3 Count podcast, 10 count questions. And Mr. Noah Idol, this is how it works. I'm going to fire off 10 questions at you rapid fast. Whatever's your answer, that's your answer.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to put on the imaginary timer for added pressure. Bing. And here we go. SmackDown or Raw?
SmackDown.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie has to be Step Up 3.
Okay. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Favorite color?
Turquoise.
Shawn Michaels or Bret Hart?
Oh. Shawn Michaels.
Favorite Disney cartoon?
Peter Pan.
Superman or Batman?
Oh man. I'm gonna go with Batman.
Favorite podcast?
The 3 Count Podcast.
Nominate one person that you want to see on this podcast.
Let's see. All right. Oh, that's a good one. I nominate, and I can throw out anybody.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna throw out some rivals of ours. They don't know that we're gonna see them soon. We're gonna see them soon. Just let this know. That's a little shots fired. I call out Black Magic.
Yeah, actually, you know what's funny? We've had Mason Walls on, but don't worry.
Okay.
So Mako, you coming too? We've already had this conversation, Mako. We gonna get you on as well.
solid. But yeah, I'm let it be known. Black Magic. I'm calling them out. I would love to see them on the podcast and love to see what they have to say. So let it be known.
Bet. And last but not least, my favorite question to ask every single person who comes on this podcast: favorite curse word?
Shit. Straight up. That's like my go-to for everything. Like if I drop something, shit. Forget something, shit. It's just a quick go-to. It's the quick go-to. Straight up, man.
Bet, man. Well, there you have it. That's all the questions that we have. And you know what that means. All I need from you, Noah, is to let our listeners and our viewers know where they can find you.
Guys, you can find me on Instagram at dear.jace. You can find me on Facebook as Jason Brion. You can also follow me on Twitter at mystic_Jace. I would be loving to hear from you guys and love to hear your feedback. And again, thank you so much for having me. It was a blast and I'm so appreciative.
Yeah. So you know what that means. We got to take it home. Which means one thing. This is the 3 Count Podcast presents Now Enter Ring. And like I said, I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up this mountain called wrestling. And like every good Sherpa, which I like to think I am, you got to have someone who's been there, done that, and done it better than you have, which is why it's never about me. It's always about who's entering the ring. And you see him here today, the shooter of pure ignorance, the man, the myth, the mystical legend himself, Noah Idol. And you guys know what to do.
Hello.
Tune into the next episode and be there, or you just wait for this episode to end. You just wait for that outro, and then you choose another episode. Peace. What's going on, 3 Count Nation? I'm Clifford Red Dog Miller with the catchphrase. But what I really want to do right now, go to twitter.com, right? Go over there, find us at the 3count_pod. Give us a follow, give us a like, give us a comment. We want to talk to you guys. Go to IG at the 3 Count Pod. Give us a like, give us a follow, leave us a comment. We want to interact with you. Go to youtube.com, give a subscribe, turn the bell on, turn the notifications, leave a comment. We want to talk to you. Go to anchor.fm/the 3 Count Podcast, and in there, you can leave us a message, and we will talk to you. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is that we want to talk to you. We want to have fun with you guys, and we love listening to what you guys have to say. Also, one thing I need you to do for me, the 3 Count Podcast also has merchandise. Oh, at prowrestlingtees.com/the 3 Count Pod. Please go buy our t-shirts. We love you guys, and we hope you love us too. So show us some support, please.